I can't think of anything more harmful he could have done to our proceedings and to this city for the role that he played in what happened. So I put forth a motion for Bob Pete Marasco to resign as our city clerk, effective immediately.
Second. Second. Second.
Second. Big Rhonda.
Second.
Let's go. Let's go.
Roll call.
Go.
Amador,
No.
Baraka,
Yes.
Crump,
Absolutely.
Gonzalez,
Abstain.
Quintana,
No.
Rice,
Yes, as soon as possible.
Sharif,
Yes.
President Ramos.
No.
Just one last thing, there's no motion. Council President, please. I would like to say to my council colleagues who were offended and oppressed the other day, because I knew that wasn't going to pass. When Bob Marasco sits in his seat, that we refuse to participate in the meeting and don't allow there to be a quorum unless he moves himself from here. We want the meetings to be led by Ken.
All right. Is that a motion?
You just do that.
Let's proceed.
Can we go to the regular agenda? Council of the Whole to defer action on 7R9J and 7R9K.
Roll call.
Roll call.
Amador,
Yes.
Baraka,
Yes.
Crump,
Yes.
Gonzalez,
Yes.
Quintana,
Yes.
Rice,
Yes.
Yes.
President Ramos.
Yes.
Council of the Whole to accept the recommendations of Office of Boards and Commissions.
Amador,
Yes.
Baraka,
Yes.
Crump,
Yes.
Gonzalez,
Yes.
Quintana,
Yes.
Rice,
Yes.
Sharif,
Yes.
President Ramos.
Yes.
Ordinances on first reading. 6FA1 and 2, granting a 5-year tax abatement. Council of the Whole to adopt.
Amador,
Yes.
Baraka,
Yes.
Crump,
Yes.
Gonzalez,
Yes.
Quintana,
Yes.
Rice,
Yes.
Sharif,
Yes.
President Ramos.
Yes.
B is an ordinance amending Title II Administration, Chapter 24, Personnel Practices and Police. This would require that all new special police officers be residents of the city of Newark. Councilman Gonzalez wishes to sponsor.
Second someone?
Second by Councilwoman Crump.
Roll call.
Amador,
Yes.
Baraka,
Yes.
Crump,
Yes.
Gonzalez,
Yes.
Quintana,
Yes.
Rice,
Yes.
Sharif,
Yes.
President Ramos.
Yes.
C is an ordinance granting a 20-year tax exemption to Freelandheisen Real Estate Urban Renewal Entity, LLC.
Why does this, say no action taken? Oh, that was
Because
November
that was the
20th.
meeting.
This wasn't deferred, though.
No,
We voted on it.
there was no vote on it.
Okay. All right.
This is the
Let's,
first official
Yes.
vote.
Move
What's the
forward.
council pleasure here?
Move forward.
Councilman Baraka wishes to advance.
Second.
by
I second.
Councilman
Gonzalez.
Gonzalez.
Roll call.
Amador,
Yes.
Baraka,
Yes.
Crump,
Yes.
Gonzalez,
Yes.
Quintana,
Yes.
Rice,
Yes.
Sharif,
Yes.
President Ramos.
Yes.
Mr. President, the ordinance adopted today on first reading will be advertised in accordance with law, and a public hearing will be held at the regular meeting on December 19, 2012, beginning at 6:30 p.m. or soon thereafter as is practical here in the council chambers. Ordinance on second reading and final passage. 6 PS NFA is an ordinance amending. 6 PS SNFA is an ordinance amending section 23:5-1, parking prohibited at all times. This would amend the no parking at any time at various locations. Is there anyone present that wishes to be heard on this ordinance?
No one appearing.
No one appearing. Motion
Mr.
to,
President,
I don't know.
Councilwoman
I move
Crump.
to defer. We have not had a meeting with the parking authority.
Second.
motion to close the public hearing, or do you want to leave the public hearing open?
Close it and defer.
Motion to close the public hearing and defer. Crump, Baraka.
Amador,
Yes.
Baraka,
Yes.
Crump,
Yes.
Gonzalez,
Yes.
Quintana,
Yes.
Rice,
Yes.
Sharif,
Yes.
President Ramos.
Yes.
B is an ordinance providing for the vacation of a 16-foot wide portion of Bel Air Place. This is for a redevelopment project. Councilman, is there anyone present that wishes to be heard on this ordinance?
No one appearing.
No one appearing. Motion to close the public hearing and adopt.
Yes.
Council of the whole, or you wish to sponsor? You sponsor?
I'll sponsor it.
Sponsor. Do I have a second?
Second.
Gonzalez. Amador, Ramos Gonzalez.
Amador,
Yes.
Baraka,
Yeah.
Crump,
Abstain.
Gonzalez,
Yes.
Quintana,
Yes.
Rice,
Yes.
Sharif,
Yes.
President Ramos,
Yes.
Ordinance on second reading and final passage, 6S and FA is an ordinance authorizing the mayor and/or the deputy mayor to Director of Economic and Housing Development of the City of Newark to execute the First Amendment to the redevelopment agreement with Visions of Hope Community Development Corporation.
Council President,
Councilman Sharif.
I move to defer this item.
Reef to defer. Do I have a second to
Second.
defer? Ramos, Reef to defer. Roll call.
Amador,
Yes.
Baraka,
Yes.
Crump, absent, Gonzalez,
Yes.
Quintana,
Yes.
Rice,
Yes.
Sharif,
Yes.
President Ramos,
Yes.
Resolutions. Resolution 7R1A is an ratifying, authorizing, and amending resolution for the Department of Administration to amend the HUD one-year action plan, to amend the one-year action plan to reflect increased funding for emergency shelter grants. B is let's do these separately. Council of the whole to adopt.
Roll call.
Roll call.
Amador,
Yes.
Baraka,
Yes.
Crump,
Where are we?
We're
Mr.
on
Clerk,
page.
I am so sorry.
We're on page 9, top of page 9.
Both of them.
Oh, yes.
Gonzalez,
Yes.
Quintana,
Yes.
Rice,
Yes.
Sharif,
Yes.
President Ramos,
Mr.
Yes.
President,
Councilwoman Crump.
yes, if I may, because of the number of complaints that come in about the emergency shelters in the city of Newark, and I know that this program is, where is it? I think comes out of family and child well-being, child and family well-being. Could we get a report on the status, the cleanliness? Hopefully some inspections will be made, because even though people are homeless, they shouldn't have to live in filth, bed bugs, etc. So if, through motions, would like to request that they come before us with a report on what they have or have not done.
I second that.
And if you can, Councilwoman, if you have any particular sites,
I do.
Submit the names to the clerk so that we can get people out there that haven't done any inspections so far.
Yes.
I do.
Next item.
Do that during motions. 7R1B is an authorizing resolution for a bid contract for recycling services. These are mattresses of all types.
Yeah, they deferred it.
C is a authorizing resolution to use the state contract for the 10-point live scan system. D is an authorization to use the state contract for automotive lubricants. E is a authorizing resolution for the Department of Administration for bid contract for public works demolition and cleanup services. Through 7R1E, Council of the whole to adopt.
Roll call.
Amador,
Yes on C and E, abstain on D.
D. D as in David.
D.
E.
Nobody came to
D
talk
as in
about
David.
D.
They came
As in
yesterday.
David.
And B.
Abstain. C and E, yes.
Okay. Yes.
Baraka,
Yes.
Crump,
Yes on B, C, no on D.
That is a lot of money.
I can't believe that we can't find somebody locally for $450,000.
Yeah. I want to
They
change mine to
probably turned the
abstention.
mic down.
I want to change mine.
I am voting yes on B and C. On D, no. I cannot believe we cannot find a local merchant that we can pay the $450,000 that we are sending outside of Newark, never mind that, outside of the state of New Jersey. So, no.
And E? And E,
And
Councilwoman?
E, I am,
To set us.
oh, yes.
Gonzalez,
Yes.
Quintana,
Yes on B. Yes on C. no on D, and yes on E.
No on E.
Rice,
Yes.
Sharif.
Yes.
Gotta clean up
And Ramos.
Yes.
the storm.
D fails. Carl has enough.
That's crazy. Yeah.
Okay, 7R1F is an authorizing resolution for the Department of Administration for a budget insertion to provide surveillance and the health alert network.
Mr. President,
Councilwoman Crum.
why do we need a budget insertion? We have a budget
If I may, Council President.
from our,
No, if I may, Council President, this is grant money, and when grant money is given to the city, it is not included in the budget. This insertion will put it into the budget, amend the budget to include this insertion so that we can spend the money.
Mr. Clerk. Sorry, Mr. Clerk, I'm well aware of what it is. It is not marked as a grant. And unfortunately, I'm not divine, so unless it's marked as a grant, I do not know.
That's why I'm explaining to you, Councilwoman.
Okay, so fix Legistar so that we get where it says grant, that it's so noted.
Yes,
Thank you.
you have a point. We shall honor that, we shall see to that. 7R1G is a budget insertion to provide medical care and health and social services. Let's do 7R1H is the external transfer of funds, cancellations of balances. 7R1I is a external transfer from the current appropriations of the 2012 budget through 7R1I, Council of the Whole to adopt.
Amador,
Yes.
Baraka,
Yes.
Crum,
Yes on G, I think F, G, and H, and no on I.
Oh,
Gonzalez,
excuse me. I mean, go ahead. Do the vote first. I'm sorry.
Let's finish the roll
Yeah,
call,
go ahead.
and then you
Go
can
ahead.
speak.
Yes.
Quintana,
Yes.
Rice,
Abstain on, yes on everything else, abstain on H and I.
Right.
Oh, H and I, yeah.
Sharif,
Yes.
President Ramos.
Yes on all, and I also abstain on I.
So I have a question,
Councilman Baraka.
about the transfer of these funds to the, just about the water and the sewer piece. We passed a resolution, the meeting before last, to require the administration within a 90-day period, where the mayor had the executive order for NWCDC to come up with a transition plan and appoint a director. Did we give that to the mayor's
Yes, we
office, administration?
Yes, we've given them that.
Was there any response to
There's
that?
been no response, no, sir.
Well, is it
You want to
possible
send a
that we
second
can
notice? Yes, we'll do
send a
that.
second notice
course.
so we can get a response to that, please?
Yes, sir.
Right. Council President, can we ask the BA, since he's here, if they have any plans on moving in that direction?
Yeah, we can. And let me also mention that at yesterday's pre-council meeting, for those of us that were here, it was mentioned and suggested that we have a sit-down with the BA over the next few weeks just to go over end-of-year cancellations, transfers, and whether or not we're going to be in a position to have any surplus going into next year's budget. So, Julian, you want to address the councilman's suggestions?
Julian?
Julian Neals, Business Administrator. I will check on the status of the report. I know one of the issues that Water Sewer is working on now is they're in the process of trying to hire 5 additional engineers to fill some vacancies that they have, and we're trying to get the waiver approval from the DCA for that process. So we are trying to beef up the numbers in terms of getting the existing utility all the employees that they need, and then we still have to do the assessment in terms of absorbing the NWCDC operations.
Right, so are we moving towards looking for a director?
There is actually a possibility that with some change in some pension rules that someone we can consider as a director to bring on board. And I would, since that's somewhat personnel, I would talk to the council members offline about that. But we are looking at that,
That's
yes.
fine. And are we going to go into the open bidding process for the water treatment?
We're going back out because we did go to an open bidding process. We only got one response to it. So we're going back out again to hopefully get more responses and try and go for a longer term, because part of the problem was the responses were limited because we put out for a term of 1 year. So we're probably going to have to consider a longer term and see what more bid responses we can get to that.
I have one last question. So after the NWCDC changed their bylaws, are we still allowing them to occupy the land and the space up there at the watershed?
Well, they are at this point, because it's still the same employees, the engineers and the actual plant workers are still their employees, so they are still occupying that space at this point, yes.
Okay.
Next item.
Mr. President, I would just like to point out to the council that I failed. It requires 6 votes.
No way.
So the external transfers cannot take place at this point.
No way.
7R3A.
I failed. 7R3I failed. Go ahead, Mr. Clerk.
7R3A is a ratifying authorizing resolution for the Department of Economic and Housing Development to approve.
I'd like to make the motion to defer this.
Second.
To defer.
Yeah, you know, because I would like to know who's on this board. I don't think they have a president right now. And I
Which
wanna
item
know
are you referring to?
the WIB,
The WIB board.
the WIB board,
3A.
right, and $1.6 million. I'd like to know where this money is going, what organizations are receiving it, how it's being spent, you know, who sits on the board, all of those specific things.
And if I can add something to that deferral, I've been asking for a long time for this council's ability to interview and vote on recommendations to serve on this Workforce Investment Board. This is an appointment process that's headed by the deputy mayor in charge of economic development, and this body is never in a position where we get to interview and actually approve of recommendations for this board. And I think in order for us to have more transparency, we need to have the same authority that we have for other boards and commissions within the city.
Mr. President, if I may, at yesterday's the council instructed us to invite them to a special meeting. We will invite them to the special on the 11th.
Thank you. We have a mover,
Roll call.
Baraka Sharif, to defer.
Amador?
Yes.
Baraco?
Yes.
Trump?
Yes.
Gonzalez?
Yes.
Quintana?
Yes.
Rice?
Yes.
Sharif?
Yes to defer.
President Ramos?
Yes.
3B is a authorizing resolution for the Department of Economic and Housing Development for private sale and redevelopment for the development of 45 units of affordable housing. This is Bergen Street Redevelopment, LLC. Councilman?
I want to move it, but I understand that there was some reservations at the pre-meeting, so I wanted to...
No, Councilman, they just wanted to be sure that you had been advised and that you were okay with this.
Oh, yeah, absolutely. I mean, this is a vacant property that's been vacant for over 20 years.
Right.
Guys hang out on a corner there. A young woman who in our community who's active, her son was killed up that block. We need to do something with that corner and block immediately.
Mr. President, if I may.
Councilman Gonzalez.
Yeah, the only reservation that was expressed was that there's a commercial portion of the building on the first floor.
Right.
And we are selling it for $4 a square foot.
I wish I could give it to them for free.
Good.
Right. See, the reality, and I understand that, and what I'm saying, though, is this is not Ferry or the other side of, different parts of the city where there's serious development. We're talking about a dilapidated area in our community that no one wants to invest in. They have not done it for over 20 years. It is witnessing crime, drug sales, and all kinds of things. We have to move on it immediately, right? And so hopefully, whatever they do will spark interest for other people to come and begin to do development along that corridor and around that corridor, so we don't have to keep calling the police to sit on the corner all day. I live right around the corner from this place, and I know day in and day out as I drive around Bergen Street, and anybody who lives in the South Ward can tell you that is a very dangerous and hot spot, and we want it to be developed immediately by any means necessary.
Yeah, and Mr. Clerk, yesterday the deputy mayor did mention that this was part of a rolling sale. Is that true, Councilman?
Right, it was part of the rolling sale, and people sent in proposals. We picked the best proposal, and fortunately, some of the folks that were picked do development in this city already. which is positive, and if you want to speak to them, you can, but I would urge the council to vote for this immediately.
Any other questions?
Do I have a second?
Second.
Roll call.
Amador,
Yes.
Baraco.
Yes.
Trump.
Yes.
Gonzalez.
Yes.
Quintana.
Yes.
Rice.
Yes.
Sharif.
Yes.
President Ramos.
Yes.
C is amending resolution for the Department of Economic and Housing Development for the private sale and redevelopment of the Second Amendment to the RDA with Springfield Avenue Marketplace.
Move it.
Sharif moves.
I second it.
Roll call.
Amador.
Yes.
Baraco.
Yes.
Trump.
Abstain.
Gonzalez.
Yes.
Quintana.
Abstain.
Rice.
Abstain.
Sharif.
Yes.
President Ramos.
Yes.
D. 7R3D. Yes. Passed. Passed, yes. 7R3D is a ratifying, authorizing resolution for the One Stop Career Center for a contract with subrecipient to provide educational service to the Newark One Stop Career Center. Council of the whole to adopt?
Is there something?
Roll call.
Yes.
Baraco.
Yes.
Trump.
Yes.
Gonzalez.
Yes.
Quintana.
Yes.
Rice.
Yes.
Sharif.
Yes.
President Ramos.
Yes.
Do we have the document?
Oh, yeah, we have that one.
Okay.
The one we don't have is the next one.
This one? Okay.
That one, we still waiting.
Okay.
Defer the next one.
Okay. 7R3E is an authorizing resolution for the Department of Economic and Housing Development for a contract with subrecipient for environmental cleanup at Childhood Development Center. Councilman Rice wishes to move, second by Councilman Gonzalez.
Amador.
Roll call.
Yes.
Baraco.
Yes.
Trump.
I'm sorry, yes.
Gonzalez.
Yes.
Quintana.
Yes.
Rice.
Yes.
Sharif.
Abstain.
President Ramos.
Yes.
Mr. President?
Councilman
one is
Rice.
Yeah, let me just thank my colleagues for voting for this. This will really help the Urban League in the West Ward to do a massive cleanup for an area that's going to be open for the Childhood Development Center. It's long overdue to provide this kind of service to the community, particularly off of Central Avenue. So I just want to thank my colleagues for supporting it. Thank you.
Next item.
7R3F is an ratifying authorizing resolution for the One Stop Career Center for contract with subrecipient to provide educational services. Council of the whole to adopt.
I'll move it.
Rice.
Second.
Mildred to adopt, second by Ramos. Roll call.
Amador.
Yes.
Baraco.
Yes.
Trump.
Yes, I'm so sorry.
Yes.
Quintana.
Yes.
Rice.
Yes.
Sharif.
Yes.
President Ramos.
Yes.
Mr. President, 7R3G is a ratifying and authorizing resolution acceptance of grant funds to provide archaeological and data recovery as part of a construction for the Newark Riverfront Park. Councilman Amador, I know you want to advance this. However, I'd like to defer action on this because we do not have a version of the final contract for this project, and I'd like to have that before we adopt. Councilman Amador, second by Gonzalez, to defer action.
Roll call.
Amador.
Yes.
Baraco.
Yes.
Trump.
Yes.
Gonzalez.
Yes.
Quintana.
Yes.
Rice.
Yes.
Sharif.
Yes.
President Ramos.
Yes.
7R4A is an authorizing resolution for the Department of Engineering for a change order to amend resolution.
Mr. President,
Go ahead, Councilwoman.
as you recall, you can see from the number of times that this agenda item was deferred, Mr. Berto did come and meet with me regarding his workforce and the employment of people who reside in the city of Newark. Councilman Amador, I'm sure you'll be happy to know that he told me he has 30 people from the East Ward, but no others from any other ward. And I said to him, the city of Newark is greater than just the East Ward. And so I'm going to take Mr. Berto at his word. This is a change order. Most of the project has been filled. And it won't be the last time, I'm sure, that he comes before us. He provides a specialized service. So I'm going to ask that council as a whole that we move this and monitor his workforce, the people he employs.
So noted.
So I'm recommending that.
Council as a whole.
Hold to adopt.
Amador,
Yes.
Baraka,
Yes.
Crump,
Yes.
Gonzalez.
Yes.
Quintana.
Yes.
Rice.
Yes.
Sharif.
Yes.
President Ramos.
Yes.
704B is a authorizing resolution for the Department of Engineering for the designation of a bus stop along Sanford Avenue. B is moved by Councilman Rice, second by Councilman Ramos. C is a authorization for the Department of Engineering designating a bus stop on Irvington Avenue. It is moved by Councilman Rice, second by Councilman Gonzalez, through 704C as movers and seconds to adopt.
Amador.
Yes.
Baraka.
Yes.
Crump.
Yes.
Gonzalez.
Yes.
Quintana.
Yes.
Rice.
Yes.
Yes.
President Ramos.
Yes.
7R4D is an authorizing resolution for the Department of Engineering for a subcontract with the New Jersey Transportation Planning Authority. This is for the Sub-Regional Transportation Planning Program. E is a authorizing resolution designating a bus stop along Elizabeth Avenue. F is a ratifying authorizing resolution for the Department of Engineering for the application and acceptance of grant funds for the concept development phase for the project Avenue P Bridge Project. Through 7R4F. Council of the whole to adopt?
Amador.
Yes.
Baraka.
Yes.
Crump.
Yes.
Gonzalez.
Yes.
Quintana.
Yes.
Rice.
Yes.
Sharif.
Yes.
President Ramos.
Yes.
7R5A is a authorizing resolution for the Department of Finance for an application to the local finance board for a proposed issuance of redevelopment area bonds. 7R5B is a authorizing resolution for the Department of Finance for stipulation of settlements for tax appeals. 5C is an authorizing resolution for the Department of Finance to issue the official statement and disclosure agreement for issuance of notes. 5B is a authorization for the Department of Finance confirming the bond sale for $68 million. Through 7R5D, Council of the Whole to adopt.
Roll call.
Amador.
Yes.
Baraka.
Abstain on A, yes on everything else.
Crump.
I think I'm doing the same thing. Abstain on A. We had a meeting with them, by the way. Abstain on A, and yes for everything else.
Gonzalez.
Yes.
Quintana.
Yes.
Rice.
Yes.
Yes.
President Ramos.
Yes. Mr.
Council
Clerk,
President.
could I just address one item related to A? Because yesterday's I had asked, why this came to us so late. Anybody that drives through McCarter Highway notices the progress that's being made with the construction of Panasonic, and it seems like we're voting for this almost after the fact. And Deputy Mayor did state on the record that they have been in negotiations, with the unions regarding, an agreement that was finally, concluded and completed, and that was his explanation as to why this was coming to us at the time that it is being presented to the council.
So, Council President,
Councilman Baraka.
I just have one thing, and I thought that we had discussed this, but maybe this was negotiated prior to that. These commercial properties that are asking for extensively long tax abatements, which is the same kind of issue that my council colleague brought up in regards to Bergen Street, that these tax abatements are too long. 20 years to me is too long to give a commercial property of this magnitude an abatement. Panasonic, of all people with all the money it has. I think that we need to break these abatements up. Council colleague Quintana is in charge of the Tax Abatement Committee. I think, again, at the abatement meeting, we should begin to make these commercial folks have a 10-year at most abatement and come back to us and have a discussion after 10 years about doing it again, either us or whoever else is on the council then, and maybe we can see if they've done everything they said they were going to do, if they hired enough Newarkers, if they're keeping up their property, all kinds of issues like that. But 20 years gives them the opportunity, to me, to disengage from the city. So I think it's important that we narrow these abatements down.
Anything else? Next item.
7R7A is a authorizing resolution for professional services contract for settled payment for outstanding legal fees for special matters. This is Light DePalma. 7B is a authorizing resolution for a law department for settlement pursuit demand for payment. Council of the whole to adopt.
Roll call.
Amador?
Yes.
Baraca?
Yes.
Trump?
Yes.
Gonzalez?
Yes.
Quintana?
Yes.
Rice?
Yes.
Sharif?
Yes.
President Ramos?
Yes.
Seminar 8A is an authorizing and ratifying resolution for the Office of Mayor for the intergovernmental agreement to provide prosecutorial services for Sunday arraignment court. 8B is a authorizing resolution for the Office of Mayor for a professional service contract for a per diem public defender. Through 7R8B, Council of the Whole to adopt.
Amador?
Yes.
Baraca?
Yes.
Trump?
Yes.
Gonzalez?
Yes.
Quintana?
Yes.
Rice?
Yes.
Yes.
President Ramos?
Yes.
7R9A is an authorizing resolution for the Office of Municipal Council City Clerk to establish the Municipal Council meeting dates for the year 2013. B is an authorization for the Office of Municipal Council City Clerk establishing the municipal paid holidays for 2013. C is a authorization for the Office of Municipal Council City Clerk for an approval of a constable bond. Through 7R9C, Council of the Whole to adopt.
Amador?
Yes.
Baraca?
Yes.
Trump?
Yes.
Gonzalez?
Yes.
Quintana?
Yes.
Rice?
Yes.
Sharif?
Yes.
President Ramos?
Yes.
7R9D, Council of the Whole to table, where I understand this event has been canceled.
Roll call.
Roll call.
Amador?
Yes.
Baraca?
Yes.
Trump?
Yes.
Gonzalez?
Yes.
Quintana?
Yes.
Rice?
Yes.
Sharif?
Yes.
President Ramos?
Yes.
709E is various recognizing and commending resolutions. 709F are various expressions of profound sorrow and regret. G is also various recognizing and commending resolutions, and H are additional profound sorrow and regret. Through 7R9H, Council of the Whole to adopt.
Amador?
Yes.
Baraca?
Yes.
Trump?
Yes.
Gonzalez?
Yes.
Quintana?
Yes.
Rice?
Yes.
Sharif?
Yes.
President Ramos?
Yes.
7R11A is ratifying authorizing resolution for the Department of Police for an application for grant funds to provide police overtime initiatives. Council of the Whole to adopt.
Amador?
Yes.
Baraca?
Yes.
Trump?
Yes.
Gonzalez?
Yes.
Quintana?
Yes.
Rice?
Yes.
Yes.
President Ramos?
Yes.
7R12A is a authorization for the water sewer utilities for a refund for overpayment on a water sewer account. B is an authorizing and amending resolution for a change order, amending resolution 7R12A of the meeting of July 1st, 2009. This would reduce the contract by $675,000. C is a authorizing and amending resolution for the Department of Water Sewer Utilities for a change order to resolution 7R12A of the meeting of September 2nd, 2009. This would reduce the contract by $1.3 million.
I like those people.
D is a authorizing and ratifying resolution for the Department of Water and Sewer Utilities for an application and acceptance of grant funds for target hardening for the Pequannock Water Treatment Plant. E is a authorizing resolution for the Department of Water Sewer Utilities for a refund on an overpayment of a water sewer account. F is a authorization for the Department of Water Sewer Utilities for refund for an overpayment on a water sewer account. And G is a authorizing resolution for the water sewer utilities for a refund on the overpayment for the water sewer account. Through 7R12G, Council of the Whole to adopt.
Mr. Chair?
Councilman Rice?
Yeah, with 12B and 12C, I think yesterday we had talked about getting some information as to what we will be doing with those dollars that we are realizing from the savings. And in terms of the change order? Do we know what those dollars are going to be used for?
Julian Neals, Business Administrator. At this point, it would go back into the project lines that they have in the department.
Right.
So for the between water and sewer, the line items in their budget that are dedicated for projects, it would go back into those lines. And at this point, towards the end of the year, they would determine if there's no other projects where they may necessarily need to reallocate monies to, it would be determined whether the utilities are going to produce surplus or not.
Okay, so it will be in that line. It won't be put into general fund or
No, it'll stay within the water and sewer utility budgets.
Okay, thank you.
Roll call.
Amador,
Yes.
Baraca.
Yes.
Trump.
Yes.
Gonzalez.
Yes.
Quintana.
Yes.
Rice.
Yes.
Reed.
Yes.
President Ramos.
Yes.
Communications. 8A is an ordinance ratifying and authorizing a lease between the City of Newark landlord and Hockey Inn Newark, Inc. This is for the Rome Street, the Ironbound Center. Councilman Amador wishes to advance to first, second by Councilman Gonzalez.
Did you second this, Gonzalez? Is $1.
And you asked them to go for it?
Yes.
Baraca.
Yes.
Wonder what makes a difference. Yes.
Gonzalez.
Yes.
Quintana.
Yes. Yes.
Rice.
Yes.
Reed.
Yes.
President Ramos.
Yes.
8B is an ordinance approving the execution of a financial agreement with Matrix SJP Riverfront Plaza Urban Renewal LLC at the request of the Department of Economic and Housing Development. We're going to advance and adopt this ordinance on first.
From
Any
who?
objections?
From who?
The department.
Department of Economic and Housing
Is
Development.
Mr.
Why?
President?
Mr. Zipkin.
No doubt.
Yeah.
But why? I don't know why. Why do they want to not go through the process?
All right, we have representation from the department here, if you want to
Yeah.
hear from her.
Absolutely.
Go ahead.
Hi, good afternoon, Danielle Torres, the Department of Economic and Housing.
Good afternoon.
Is it on?
It's on my
just tap
side,
it.
yeah. Hit it.
Hello?
Gotcha.
Danielle Torak with the Department of Economic and Housing Development. The request was made. We have a tandem resolution on that you just approved, which was the application to the local finance board. So the two items are moving in tandem. So with the first read of the ordinance, the application goes to the local finance board and then is returned to the city and then would move to second reading. So it's an issue of timing and that the two pieces move in tandem.
Any other questions, Councilwoman Crum?
I had the same question. Why? However, has Panasonic come to meet with the council? Have they had a meeting with the council?
I believe there's been meetings
The
that
leadership.
has
Can
taken
anybody
place.
tell me that? I'm not talking about with the business administrator or
Never
the
met with
mayor or anything like that. And the reason is my same old reason. We do great favors for some people, and they never, ever show their face. After we grant them over and over and over again. I can honestly say it for your Springfield project, Councilman Sharif, that was not true of Mr. Tucker and Mr. Giantomasi, I have to say that. But for the most part, they never show their face. And they make a ton of money. So out of respect for the fact that this council does have some oversight, I mean, they dismiss us. And the same is true because this is a Panasonic project. Want Panasonic to come, not sure that they're going to have an awful lot of jobs for us, in spite of what they say, but still have no problem with the business. So
No,
whenever people want to fast track something, it makes me nervous.
Understood.
As you know, Danielle.
I understand. And my understanding, I know that Deputy Mayor Zipkin, I think, had
He's the
numerous
least
meetings.
person to report to me, you know.
Well, I thought there was a number of meetings, but I absolutely can have meetings set up with representatives from Panasonic who would be happy to come and meet with you. And I can certainly arrange that immediately. I'm sure they'd be willing to come as soon as possible. But I would urge you to still consider, there's an opportunity. It's two readings on the ordinance. And like I said, the need for waiving communication is tied to the application for the RAB bonds to the local finance board. And that was why the request was to waive communications and move to first reading.
I'm going to leave, then I'm going to believe you, and I'm going to leave this in your capable hands.
I
And if
appreciate
they
that.
don't show up soon,
I will absolutely be on it.
I don't mean 6 months from now. I
Nope.
really mean soon.
I absolutely will be on it.
Great.
Yeah, let me remind the council that this project's been underway for quite some time. I know former Council President Payne had scheduled a sit-down with the developers early on, but I think you hear the sentiments of the council that it's time for us to reconnect and, get an update in terms of the timeline, completion, and also, what kind of community benefit, agreements or commitments does Panasonic have, so.
Understood.
Then the one final thing, Council President, if I may.
Councilman Sharif.
I had written a letter to the Department of Labor to ask for a glass ceiling audit of Panasonic, and they have that information. It would be helpful that when they came before this council, if they could give us a breakdown of their personnel, especially women and upper management.
You made that request to the Department of
Yes.
Labor? Okay, do you need us to?
Well, it'd be helpful if they
assist in
could bring it, with them, Panasonic people.
Okay, I will
Right.
mention it to
They,
them.
they know what their HR is.
In connection with the request to meet with
Yes.
council, I'll share that with
Yes.
them as well.
Thank you.
They getting a lot, boy.
Next item.
They are.
I'm sorry, it wasn't voted.
Need a roll
Council
call?
as a whole, Mr. Clerk.
Amador,
Yes.
Baraca,
Yes.
Trump,
Yes.
Gonzalez,
Yes.
Quintana,
Yes.
Rice,
Yes.
Sharif.
Yes.
President Ramos.
So
Yes.
are they going to come prior to the final vote, or?
That's what I,
They're gonna-
I would strongly suggest that they be scheduled for the pre-meeting prior to the next council meeting.
Jennifer's here. Jennifer Carrillo.
Councilman, my
attorney.
first order of business is to go back to my office and make a phone call to have them here before that second reading.
Thank
Their
you.
attorney is here in the audience, Jennifer Carrillo.
We want to meet with Panasonic, so. No
Oh, I don't want to
disrespect.
meet with her. I want to meet with Panasonic. She's just the attorney for Panasonic.
So request was made, they will be at the pre-meeting prior to the next council meeting.
Yes.
Let's move on.
Mr. President, this item has been adopted as 6FD, and it will be advertised in accordance with law, and a public hearing will be held at the council meeting of December 19, 2012, at 6:30 thereafter, as soon thereafter as is practical. I should also point out that this may not happen on the 20th if it has not received local finance board approval.
Okay.
C,
item.
8C is an ordinance amending Section 23:3-5, no turn on red. This would prohibit the right turn on red at the intersection of Summer Avenue and Third Avenue. Council of the whole to advance to first?
I'd like to defer. I'm not sure why this is on the agenda. Like, I don't know where the request came from, so,
You want to defer?
yeah.
Councilman Ramos to defer. Do I have a
Is that another,
Second.
Gonzalez, Ramos
Is that another
Gonzalez to
ward in the
defer.
city?
Roll call.
is it another, yes.
Baraca,
Yes.
Is it
To defer.
another ward in the city?
Yes.
East Central?
Yes.
Quintana,
Yes.
Rice,
Yes.
Sharif.
Yes.
President Ramos.
Yes.
Pending business, 9A is an ordinance amending and supplementing Title 8 Business and Occupations, Chapter 19. This would adopt a new procedure for the non-consensual towing and storage of motor vehicles.
Mr. President,
Yeah, and I also have a comment on this. Go ahead,
yeah,
Councilman.
and I heard Councilman Amador. I was going to recommend that we defer this item. We have not had a meeting with the Parking Authority
That's-
Director.
And
we need to
yet,
do. We have two major
yesterday's
items.
We agreed
pre,
to do.
I listed, along with Councilman Rice, a number of concerns. Primary to me is, revenue analysis of what the city currently brings in now with its current towing structure, as opposed to whether or not we move this to the parking authority. They also came in, if you read the background, that they're going to have 4 or 5 mini lots around the city of Newark. And I want to be confident, as we talk to the police department, if a resident has their vehicle towed and they need to get that vehicle back, what kind of communication is going to be in place to ensure that that resident's vehicle is accounted for and that person's able to retrieve and access that vehicle within a reasonable amount of time. So I think there's a whole host of questions, revenue being the primary one for us, that we need answered prior to this moving on. Council as a whole to defer.
Amador,
Yes.
Baraca,
Yes.
Trump, absent. Gonzalez.
Yes.
Quintana.
Yes.
Rice.
Yes.
Yes.
President Ramos.
Yes.
9B is a authorizing resolution for the office of mayor for the appointment of to the Commission on Homeless. This is Heather Martindale. Council of the whole to adopt?
Yes.
Amador.
Abstain.
Baca.
No.
Trump, absent. Gonzalez.
Yes.
Quintana.
Abstain.
Rice.
Yes.
Reed.
Yes.
President Ramos.
Yes.
Fails to adopt. I should also point out that because this is the second failure for this appointment, it will be returned to the mayor.
So noted.
9C is a authorizing resolution for the office of mayor for the appointment to the Commission on the Homeless of Lois C. Batt. Council of the whole to adopt?
Any people from Newark, Mr. President? I mean,
Yeah, I think it seems like this has been on the agenda forever, these appointments, and every time it comes up, the same feedback is given as far as residency and whether or not we can find stakeholders from the city of Newark who want to serve on these commissions and committees. So, we'll gladly put it up for a vote. I think before the administration, and I'm glad the BA is here, puts any more recommendations forward on appointments for committees or commissions, please note that the council wants to see people that live in Newark or are stakeholders within Newark to serve on these committees.
Thank you. Wait, one more.
Julian Neals, Business Administrator. I'll advise Latanya Williamson, Child and Family Wellbeing. The director did appear and also talked about her efforts and identified that these individuals actually work in Newark as well. But I will make it clear that it should be specific in terms of what efforts have been made, availability, the board, and how many other seats there are, and what comprises the residency as far as Newark residents.
Thank you.
Roll call for 9C?
Yes. Oh, abstain.
Baca.
No.
Trump.
No.
Gonzalez.
Yes.
Quintana.
abstain.
Rice.
Abstain.
Reed.
Yes.
President Ramos.
Abstain.
Mr.
Fails to
President-
adopt, and it will be returned to the administration.
Mr. President, may I change
Councilwoman
my
Crum.
vote to abstention, an abstention
Please note
on
that
9C? I'm sorry.
Councilwoman Crum changes her vote to an abstention on C.
So ordered. Hearing the citizens.
Well, let's, we have motions prior to,
Excuse me?
council motions prior to the hearing.
Do the
of
motions
citizens.
first? Yes, sir.
We don't have, please note, we have no added starters on the agenda today.
We're checking that.
Councilman Sharif?
Yeah, I just want to make an announcement, no motions, but this is what the public should understand about the first item that we dealt with, the filling of the vacancies, and what is likely to happen over the next year and a half, because the people who are responsible for it, and I should be more clear, the mayor is expecting that people will be upset for a month, 2 months, maybe 3 months, and that they will forget. And you will see throughout not only the Central Ward, but in the West and the South Ward also, people, there'll be gifts raining down
Oh, yes.
on residents, from turkeys to
Right.
scratch cards to lots to everything that you can imagine. And you will, and that's what this mayor, that's the kind of respect that he has for these residents. I actually watched the Democratic National Convention, and there are people crying, there are people spellbound, and he stole Barack Obama's saying. He said it's not about a red state or a blue state, it's about the United States. This is the same person that did what caused an uproar in the entire city. So I'm not going to read it into the record, but I have drafted a 3-page letter, and it's going to meet the press. It's going to go to to George Stephanopoulos' show, Rachel Maddow. I don't know if she's going to air it because she's a fellow Rhodes Scholar
Right, she loves
and
it.
Stanford person. Now, and it's important. There's not an inaccuracy in this letter, and it's important for these national programs to give this council an opportunity to address nationally what occurred in Newark, because the mayor plays an inside-outside game. Outside, he talks about democracy and all these important things, but inside, he cuts his political hacks, operatives, and henchmen loose, and they literally rain terror on this community. So the national media, but not for the national media, nobody would know who this mayor was. And so I think they ought to at least read what's in the letter, and we're going to provide tapes of every single meeting, and we're going to let them judge for themselves, because we look to them to be fair and balanced. And those of you who know me, I'm not normally given to taken to the street to protest, but I'll be in front of Rockefeller Plaza and take a road trip down for Meet the Press and have a silent protest for all of the mayor's ribbon cuttings here with the sign, democracy for all of us. So this is for all of you. Please do not fall into the trap that they've set up, that you will forget about this and come election time. And so I want you to finally go to my website. It's myname.org. I still have the petition up because sometimes gifts come to us in the most unexpected ways. And I'm looking at this as a potential organizing tool to organize our residents. And this isn't, it's not a black, it's not a white, it's not a Latino issue. It really is a fundamental issue of right and wrong, and how a mayor who's made himself an emperor totally disregards the oath that in 2010, when this clerk had us take an oath, and part of that oath was for us to abide by our laws, and he didn't. And so, please never forget, in every council meeting, I'm going to remind you about the injustice that was done so that the mayor could have more power in this city. Council President.
Second. Second.
Yes.
I know.
Yeah.
Yes.
Abstain.
Abstain.
Yes.
Is that like a first to abstain to my announcement?
I think
And it wasn't even a motion, right? You said it was an announcement.
Oh, I'm sorry.
All right.
Okay.
That's why they had a roll call.
I was about to be hurt. Okay.
heard
Yes.
people talk, and it wasn't a motion, and we voted
I told you it was.
Yes.
all the time.
Yes. Next, Councilman Rice.
Yes, very quickly, our monthly West Ward Block Federation meeting will be taking place next Thursday, December 13th, 6 p.m. at North Star Academy, Vailsburg Middle School, on the corner of South Orange Avenue and, on the corner of South Orange Avenue and Sanford Avenue. Please, all Block Association heads, as well as building tenant presidents, be prompt. The top priority will be talking about a development of a West Ward plan for first responders. After going through Hurricane Sandy, we know there's a need for a ward-based plan of action for catastrophe, so we will have a preparedness plan, the beginnings of which we will start to talk about at that meeting. And we'll also have an update from the ABC board about what we're doing about the Knockouts Go-Go and Uncle Sal's Bar on Sanford Avenue. So please be on time. We have a lot to do on that agenda. And the last thing I will say is, again, a message to the Newark Police Department for the 7th time to get a written explanation as to when the mini precinct in the West Ward will be open on the corner of Columbia and South Orange Avenue. I have asked, pleaded, begged, cajoled, even voted against items on the agenda to try to make my point. What I am prepared to do before the Christmas break happens is I will bring busloads of West Ward residents to the next council meeting, and we will be at the council meeting, but we will also do a sit-in at the mayor's office to indicate why we do not have the precinct that I put money in the budget for, and that was indicated would be open in 2 weeks during our budget hearings of the Newark Police Department. My residents deserve to be listened to, and the money I put in the budget deserves to be spent for the items that I say they should be spent, and that has been voted on by my colleagues. Lastly, I just want to read a quick statement into the record. My participation in today's City Council meeting under court order is a reflection of my deep desire to see the tenets of democratic representation preserved in the Newark City Council for the benefit of the residents of this city. The fact that the court has ordered the suspect vote, and I repeat, has ordered the suspect vote to fill a council vacancy to be recast is a clear indication of the city's administration's wrongful interference in the business of the Newark City Council. I am confident that when all parties appear in court on December 11th, the position of the 4 council members who filed a complaint objecting to Mayor Booker's breach of the council rules will be vindicated. It is critically important that the people of Newark enjoy the confidence of their elected representatives and that those entrusted with leadership by the public respect the law and play by the rules. We do a disservice to our city when we sow seeds of confusion and dissension at a time when our first priority should be serving the public and the public trust. I maintain faith in the rules governing our legislative branch that I voted for and the majority of my colleagues voted for, and look forward to having the people determine who shall represent them in the Newark City Council. Democracy yesterday, democracy today, democracy in Newark tomorrow. Thank you.
I'll second.
Second. Roll call.
Amador,
Yes.
Baraka.
Yes.
Trump.
Yes.
Gonzalez. Absent. Quintana.
Yes.
Rice.
Yes.
Sharif.
Yes.
President Ramos.
Yes. Councilman Quintana.
No motions.
Councilwoman Crump.
Thank you. I want to remind everyone who is in these chambers, and those who are watching on their television sets, that a travesty of justice took place in these hallowed chambers today. And I want to say to you, never forget. Never forget. As Councilman